Hey fellow beaders, it's JP. In today's tutorial, in partnership with Panda Hall, I am bringing you the candy cane bracelet. This is a very simple bracelet. It is made using something called the Chevron stitch, which is a modified netting stitch. It makes this really gorgeous bracelet. You can make it in lots of different colors using lots of different combination of beads. Your imagination is basically the limit that you have. So whatever you come up with, it'll look pretty amazing. What you'll need is you'll need some type of central bead. So I used a 3x4 rondelle, but you can use a pearl, a 4mm pearl, bicone, fire polish. Basically whatever you got, you can use here in the center. You'll also need an 11/0 seed bead. I used Toho's in 2 different colors, in a red and white. But again, you can use whatever color you've got. In addition, I used a lobster claw clasp, and I needed 2 jump rings to attach my clasp. You'll need about 1 arm span to maybe 1.5 arm span of fireline. Go with a 6 or an 8 pound fireline. Even a 10 will do, because this is it's a fairly lightweight, simple bracelet. So if you have a thicker fireline, then that's nice, or even a wildfire. And that's it. Of course, a beading needle. So you don't need a lot of materials, and this is a very fast bracelet. Also keep in mind that this is going to make a really nice looking gift for someone. And all you have to do is maybe use some nice beads. So if you used a nice galvanized silver bead for your 11/0, and then used a pearl or an AB bicone of some kind, that would make this a really beautiful, gorgeous, blingy bracelet. Anyway, well, I hope you guys like this tutorial, so let's get started. So to begin our bracelet, first thing you're going to do is add a stopper bead to the end and leave about somewhere between 10 to 12 inches of thread for the clasp on this side. Then what you're going to do is pick up your large crystal or whatever bead that you're using. So I'm using my rondelle. So I've got my rondelle, then your 11/0s, you'll need 3 of those, another crystal, 5 of 11/0s, another crystal, and then finally you're ending with 3 11/0s. Once you have this on your thread, what you're going to do is just go back up through this first crystal that's closest to your stopper bead. And what you'll end up with is this nice loop. Now what you're going to do is pick up 5 11/0 beads. So I'm picking up 5 here, which is out of camera range, but that's what I'm doing. I got my 5. Then I'm going to pick up a crystal, and then I'm picking up 3 more 11/0 beads. Just like this. And I'm going to bring this all down to the bottom, and then I'm going to go through this crystal. If you're working on the left, like I am, I'm left-handed, so you're going to go into this crystal. If you're working from the right, you can go in this crystal and you'll be making your bracelet from left to right. If you're a lefty, you're making it from right to left. That's it. There's going to be no other differences. So go ahead and go through the crystal. Like so. And make sure you want to get rid of any slack in the thread. There shouldn't be any thread showing between the beads. So now you'll pick up again 5 of your 11/0 beads. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm picking up my 5, a crystal, and then you're picking up 3 11/0 beads. And that's essentially the pattern you're going to follow. It's going to be 5 seed beads, a crystal, and then 3 more seed beads. This time you're going through the crystal that's here on top. And all you're going to do is take your thread or take your needle, go through the crystal in the upward direction, and that's what you're going to get. And now you repeat the same seed bead pattern as before. So I'm going to pick up my 5, and then I pick up a crystal, and then I pick up 3 more of my 11/0 seed beads, like this. I just bring it down to the bottom of the thread. You don't actually have to do that. It just looks better on camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. So all the beads are here, so I'm going to go through this crystal here. And that's it. There you go. And you're just repeating this pattern over and over again. It's a really, like I said, a beginner's bracelet. It's very simple to make. And so I'm going to do this one last time. I'm picking up my 5. Then I pick up my crystal. And then I pick up 3. So, and I just go up. So you're either going to go up into the crystal if you're coming out of the bottom crystal, or down into the crystal if you're coming out of the top crystal. So this next time I'm going to go down, I'm going to add my beads and then go down to this crystal here. And just give it a tug so you're bringing in the slack. And that's it, guys. Really, really simple. So go ahead and keep going until you get to your desired length, and then I will show you how I can't talk. Go until you get to your desired length, and then I will show you how to add the clasp on. Keep going. Okay, so if you've made the bracelet to your desired length, this is what it's going to look like. I've added the clasp on one side. So all I did was, like I said, a simple loop of seed beads, and then I added the jump ring to the loop and my lobster claw on this side. So here I'm going to do the exact same thing. All I'm going to do is add a jump ring by itself and no lobster claw on this side. So first thing you're going to do is, if you note, this crystal isn't completely in line with this one. They're at a slight angle. So what I'm actually going to do is, when I make this loop, you add 1 extra bead on this side versus this side, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So you're actually going to pick up 6 11/0s to begin with, and then you pick up a crystal, and then you pick up 7 11/0s. So I'm off camera there a little bit, but all I'm doing is picking up seed beads for the next, counting seed beads here. Nothing exciting. Okay, so I've got my 7. So I'm just going to bring all that down to the end of my thread here. And so I've got 5 here, 7 here. I'm going to skip the 7, and I'm going to go back through the crystal, and this should form my loop. Actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and make things even easier on me. So I'm going to go back out again for 1 second here. And I'm going to pick up my jump ring, and I'm going to add that on to my beads. It'll save me a step, basically. I won't have to open the jump ring. So now I'll go back through. I'm still skipping over all the seed beads and the jump ring. And so you just pull this down. See, now the jump ring's already on the loop, and that part, one little bit, is done. So now this time, instead of 6, you're actually only going to pick up 5 seed beads, and what this will do is help even out that spacing difference that happens with this particular stitch. So just like that. See how now it looks, you can't tell that there's one more, but now it kind of evens out the spacing and the loop looks even, and it'll fit more evenly, and you won't get a little bit of a bunching if you use the same number of beads on both sides. So the last thing you have to do is reinforce, and so I'm just going to go back, coming out of that crystal at the bottom there. So I'm just going up through these seed beads, up through this crystal, and then I'm just going to go back around all of these beads. And so I'm just going to turn this so it's easier for me to go through the beads. So I've just gone up the beads here. I'm in the loop now. And just going through. You just want to take your time with this. Don't rush and don't yank too hard. You want to make sure there's no slack in the thread, but you don't want to yank too hard because it'll cause all the beads to kind of bunch, and you don't want that. You want it to lie nice and even. And so I've gone back down. So I'm just coming out over here. So I'm just going to go back up again. And you can do this one more time. I think mine is okay. It's a little. And so the next part is to do half-inch knots. So I'm going to go in this direction and tie some half-inch knots right around some of these crystals here that I've got. So I've gone through these 5 seed beads. And, sorry, my thread just got caught there for a second on one of my other projects. So I'm just going to make a half-inch right in front of this. So there's that knot. So, and then I'm just going to go down some seed beads, and I'll make another knot next to this crystal here. So I usually, as I said, I think if you watch my videos on a regular basis, you know I tend to make 2 to 3 knots, and so that's all I'm doing. So, and I've got one more, so I'm just going to go through these seed beads now. And one last knot. Okay, so I've got my knots, and I'm just going to work the thread away a little bit. And now we are ready to cut. And here's our bracelet. It's gorgeous, really quick, really fast, and it looks really, really nice when it's on your wrist. Okay, well, I hope you guys like this tutorial, and please subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next tutorial.